Thank you, Chairman Duncan and Ranking Member DeGette, for allowing me to waive on to today's hearing. And thanks for the witnesses for appearing with us today. The main takeaway from this hearing should be simple and actually something that every elementary student in my district knows, and that is that decisions have consequences. Over the last 3.5 years, the Biden-Harris administration has made policy decisions that have attacked the American energy industry. And now, my constituents are seeing those consequences each and every day at the pump, at the grocery store, and in their utility bills. The most recent capacity auction for PJM in July hit a record high of $14.7 billion. That's more than $2 billion that the ratepayers, my constituents, will have to pay. As a Pennsylvanian, and as we heard last night, every 4 years, national figures come to the Commonwealth and flip-flop their position on fracking. And finally, accept that it is giving our nation clean, reliable, and affordable energy. In the communities that I proudly represent, we already know those benefits, and we don't change our minds every 4 years. As I traveled throughout my district in August, there was clear frustration with these higher prices because people know that by unleashing the energy that's under the feet of my constituents, inflation should be cut in half and energy prices could be stabilized. We heard this from business leaders like the CEO of EQT, Toby Rice, when he said, "I've been hearing the administration tout the fact that we are producing record numbers of energy, yet still, energy costs are up 30%. We need to be doing more, and we can be doing more to unleash American energy. It is within our power to reclaim not only American energy independence, but American energy dominance. In 2023, the U.S. produced 36% more crude oil than Saudi Arabia, despite the obstacles put in place by the Biden-Harris administration. With new interstate pipelines, Pennsylvania could produce the natural gas needed to provide power to the entire East Coast. With common sense policies, we can have clean, reliable, affordable domestic energy sources to unlock economic growth and release pressure that has put inflation on American families, on American farmers, and American growers. Ms. Pryor, I'm honored to have apple grower testify in front of our committee today. My district in Pennsylvania is blessed with large amounts of peaches and apples from the orchards, and I was able to walk through some of these orchards just a few weeks ago. You as a farmer, you as an apple grower specifically, how do these high energy costs affect your operations?
Petroleum products in particular influence so many things, prices of other things, fertilizer, packaging, and actual fuel. So it's not just affecting the fuel that we use, the physical fuel that we use, the gas and diesel, it's the other products, the letter that the other gentleman was talking about from his constituent saying that doubled, that's very accurate. Our fertilizer prices have doubled, and that's a huge expense to start with. So when they are increased even more, it makes a big difference.
Does that affect your bottom line?
Absolutely, yes.
Has it affected your bottom line this year?
Yes.
Mr. Fisher, as I mentioned earlier, the last PJM capacity auction hit a record high of $14.7 billion. Why has it become so expensive to keep baseload generating capacity online? And how has this administration's policies, particularly the EPA rules, affect the market?
The EPA power plant rules are directly responsible for shutting down a significant amount of supply. So we're taking supply off. As you know, the PJM region is growing. There are a lot of data centers there, new manufacturing, et cetera. So we have a very predictable outcome from reduced supply and increased demand, which is skyrocketing prices.
So, Mr. Fisher, if this trajectory of record high prices for capacity continues, how will that affect my constituents who are ratepayers within the PJM interconnection?
So as I noted, I'm a resident of the state of Maryland. The Maryland Consumer Council has estimated that retail costs could go up by 24%. I don't know if that's true for every state, but it is a significant cost that will certainly filter down to retail rates. Ms.
Okwaka, 119,000 families in my district make less than $55,000 a year. Can you please explain why working-class Americans, those who can least afford it, disproportionately suffer when energy costs increase?
Thank you. Low-income families spend disproportionately more of their disposable income on gas, on groceries, on those essential items. And so when gas prices rise, when energy prices rise, they're going to be spending more money. And we see that low-income families tend to be the ones who suffer from energy hurdles, whether it's heating or cooling their homes, as well as just being able to get to and from work.
Let me conclude with, we can decrease that suffering on middle-class families by unleashing the power that lives and resides and is capable of being extracted underneath the feet of my constituents in Pennsylvania. Thank you again for allowing me to wave on, Mr. Chairman, and I yield back.
Chairman yields back. That concludes the hearing.